you have power over your thoughts. You don't have complete control over your thoughts. Things are going to be intrusive, but you do have power over your thoughts. You have the ability to focus on good things in your life and opportunities or obstacles and problems. You have the ability to determine what you're going to focus on after that initial negative thought or that initial fear or that negative core belief that you have, and whether you're going to feed it or wallow in it. You have power and influence, not total control, but power and influence. I remember really for probably 3 years after my divorce, I kept this narrative in my mind that people are judging me. People are looking at me. I am looked at as a failure. How could you do this, Adam? How could this all happen? And whatever. I mean, all these thoughts, not true, but they went through my mind, and they led me to acting in a certain way where I'd isolate and where I would just get focused on work and that addiction there. And they led me to not being in a great place. But the second thought, after I have that initial thought, is my responsibility. And what I can do is tell myself the truth, or I can keep filling and feeding those lies. The choice is up to me. And so I stopped doing my daily 5 and 5 for a period of time. I stopped doing my gratitude practices for a period of time. I stopped doing journaling and reading at the level that I had done before. I stopped doing some things and not feeding my mind with good stuff, but just wallowing in the bad stuff. There are some actions you can take if you want to work on your thoughts. A couple things you can do. One is stay productively busy. You first admit that they are your responsibility. Stay productively busy. So having a schedule and keeping it, having some structure in your life. I got off of that structure in my life. There's a cliche, and it's, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. A cliche is like an opinion. It's overused, and it's often something that is true, but we don't want to hear it, or we have it as in a cliche format to make it really convenient, easy. And then it's something we can just really easily discard then because we don't want to really think about it. But there's real truth to that, because if we're just idle and we're just spinning in our own heads and not doing something productive, then we can very easily succumb to that negativity and easily succumb to others' opinions about us that might not be positive, or easily succumb to things that we believe that really aren't true, and not challenge that truth with some kind of thinking that's positive and more accurate and more true. As I go through those questions that I have many times, what's more accurate, healthy, positive, true about this situation, or about that initial thought that you can replace it with? And we can be quick to doing that. So I was watching a documentary about Kirk Cousins, quarterback. I'm a fan. And he does and has done for over a decade neurofeedback. And neurofeedback is basically where you're giving yourself some feedback on your thinking pattern. So, for example, when I would do couples counseling, I used to hook up both of the couples to a pulse oximeter, and it would measure their heart rate and their blood oxygenation level. And what would happen in a conflict is one of theirs there was an alarm that would go off when it reached a certain level. And so it would go off because they were so elevated. And at that point, it gave them some information that it's probably not going to be a productive conversation from this point forward until you both take a time out and step back from it, because their heart rate and their oxygenation level were indicating that they were under a great deal of stress. I call that brain lock. They're in brain lock. How do we get out of that? We can do that with ourselves we can give ourselves some feedback, because your body's telling you, as you get in tune with it, that you're not thinking straight, that you're under stress. You may carry it somewhere. I carry it in my stomach. Oftentimes I carry it in my shoulders and my neck as well. But it tells me that, okay, I got to change something that I'm thinking here, deal with something in my life. And neurofeedback's excellent. I mean, I think there's some really great, I can put some links in the show notes to actually two companies that I really like as far as having at-home neurofeedback. And that can give you some information, more details on this, but it's really helpful. It gives you some information on how your body's responding to your thinking patterns, and it can help you stay more focused.